My name is Matilda Reckford, and I work for the EHLS program at the Center for Applied Linguistics, and I'm joined today by Maria.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm at Georgetown University, and I'm the program manager there and the director of recruitment. I've been with the program for almost 20 years, since the beginning. Welcome, welcome.
And we're also joined by Meredith.
Hi, everyone. My name is Meredith Shoemaker. I work with IIE. I'm a program specialist on EHLS. We focus specifically on the application system, and I've been with EHLS for about 6 years.
And we have our special guest alumni this year, today joining us, Valentina.
Hi, my name is Valentina Lukin. I'm a EHLS Scholar 2021, completely virtual.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to do a quick presentation of the program before we just open the room to any of your questions. So feel free as of now to use the Q&A box to type in any questions you might have. And I'll pass it along to Maria.
Okay, so let me do a quick overview of the EHLS program and a little introduction. So EHLS is a scholarship program with a focus on professional English communication skills and career skills. The program trains advanced speakers of English to be effective communicators and strong candidates for federal jobs. It's hosted at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Every scholar admitted to the program receives a full scholarship funded by the federal government. The program is 8 months in length. The first 6 months are full-time on the Georgetown University downtown campus near Chinatown. The final 2 months are part-time, conducted online. Participants are native speakers of critical languages who have a strong interest in public service. EHLS scholars come from a diverse cultural, educational, professional background, but they are all united by an interest in and a commitment to public service. So let's look at a little bit about the program background. Why EHLS? EHLS was established because critical language skills are in high demand in the U.S. government. There are other government-sponsored programs to teach critical languages to native English speakers, but this is the only program designed to prepare individuals with native knowledge of critical languages for the federal workplace. A brief background on the organization and the history of EHLS. So EHLS is a partnership among 4 organizations: the Defense Language and National Security Education Office, DELENCIO, provides funding. You may also see it called NCEP. That is the other, or the formerly known as NCEP. Now it's DELENCIO, but they are one and the same. The Center for Applied Linguistics, where Matilda is, oversees instructions and coordinates language testing. Georgetown University, we are the academic portion. We provide the instruction, and that's where I am. The Institute for International Education, IIE, where Meredith is, oversees the application process. EHLS started in 2006, and 2025 will be our 20th year. I can't even believe it. And we're going strong. Okay, let's take a look at the scholarship benefits and terms. Scholarships for the EHLS program are awarded through the Defense Language and National Security Education Office. That is a mouthful. DELENCIO is the acronym. Each scholarship provides full tuition and fees for the 8-month academic program, in addition to a living stipend. And the living stipend is $3,600 per month during the first 6 months when you are with us full-time. Then it's $1,200 per month during the last 2 months. Other benefits are health insurance through Georgetown University, and that's for you or for the scholar and not for the entire family. And once you are lucky enough, if you're admitted, you could buy health insurance for your family members, but this is just for the scholar. Another benefit is a certificate from Georgetown University upon completion of the program. By the time you are finished with the EHLS program, you will have compiled a beautiful professional portfolio that includes a well-polished resume, a writing sample, a U.S. government scale English and heritage test scores, your OPIs, and a certificate from Georgetown University, which really opens many doors. Scholars must agree to the terms that we have outlined here. They are full-time attendance and successful completion of the academic program. Okay, that's the entire 8 months. Agreement not to work during the full-time portion of the academic program, and that's January to June, and that's when we pay you $3,600 a month. You cannot work during that period. And acceptance of the service requirement after completing the academic program. And let's see. Okay. Let's look at the participant eligibility. So first and foremost, you must be a U.S. citizen at the time of the application. So our application deadline is June 18th. By June 18th, before you submit, you have to be a U.S. citizen, and you have to either give us your naturalization number or U.S. passport number, but you must be a U.S. citizen. You must be a native speaker of one of the languages listed, and you must have professional level proficiency in that language. And you would be tested for that. You must have a college degree, at least a bachelor's degree. Many people have masters, multiple masters, PhD, but the minimum requirement is at least a bachelor's degree. You must be able to use the internet, word processing programs, and PowerPoint. You must commit to a full-time day program from January to June in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown University. And you must be willing to work for the federal government for a minimum of 1 year in a position with national security responsibility. And it will be your responsibility to find that position. Okay. I guess I'll pass it over to Meredith.
Great, thank you, Maria. All right, so now we're going to take a look at some key dates. Currently, right now, the application is open. It is available. So you can apply now. You can see our website at ehlsprogram.org for the link. As Maria mentioned previously, the deadline to submit your application and the supporting documents is 5 p.m. Eastern Time on June 18th. Supporting documents include your transcripts, resume, excuse me, and any recommendations. So after you've submitted your application, it will undergo a review for completeness and eligibility. And once your application is submitted and found to be complete, you will be invited to schedule an oral proficiency interview, or OPI, in English. OPIs will be administered through July 12th, 2024, but we very strongly recommend submitting your application and scheduling your OPI as soon as possible to receive a time that's going to work with your schedule. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. EHLS staff will notify candidates of their preliminary status in September. So some candidates will be provisionally selected to move on to the next stage of the application, which is skills testing. In late September to early October, provisionally selected candidates will complete their language testing as well as a basic technology skills test. You'll also complete an additional OPI in your critical language in September and October. EHLS will notify candidates of their final selection status excuse me, in early November 2024, and the program will start on January 26th, 2025. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Matilda.
Thank you, Meredith. So now we're at the main portion of this live Q&A, which is to introduce our special guest, and I'll prompt our guest Valentina with some questions, but of course, this is your time, of course, to ask our alumni, special guests, and any of us any questions that you have. This time is dedicated to hearing from you, but we have kind of some general questions that can help you learn a little bit more about the scholar experience. So I'll just remove the slides so that, oops, we'll have full view of, everyone here. And yes, so we're joined today by Valentina, who is a Russian, Czech, and Slovak language distance language mentor at the U.S. Department of State Foreign Service Institute. And yes, my first question is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career path?
Sure. So I'm a multilingual. I was growing up in Russian, Czech, and Slovak family in the in Russia and in Czech Republic. And when I moved to US, I didn't speak well in English when I came here first time, and so my career was a little bit slow to start. I started teaching Russian at some point, like just to tutor. And then I started working for major schools here in Washington, D.C., basically teaching diplomats and foreign service staff. And then I find out about EHLS. I applied. I applied actually 3 times. So I was rejected twice, and I finally got my basically application approved the third time. So please, if any one of you is applying multiple times, it's not that you need to give up. Please keep on trying. And also, I have to say that each rejections gave me like a boost to grow and a boost to explore what can I improve. And thanks to that is also growing. Like you are growing as a person and you're growing as a professional. And so please keep on applying. Even if you are not getting second or third time. I had actually one of the scholars, she was, I think, 5 times trying and she got on the 5th time. So please don't give up. You are in the right place. Just keep on growing.
That's such a great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, can you talk about your overall experience being an EHLS scholar?
It was challenging. Let's start with that. That's why they ask you. That's why they give you very good support, financial and also medical. The medical insurance is actually, I saw the question. It was really good. It is much better than what I have right now through federal government. And so it's good, but you don't have time to go to the doctors, so there is another way, of saying you have to think sometimes twice, because you have to participate really fully, be present at all the lessons and all the events that EHLS is organizing for you. This experience really helped me a lot. I was very shy when I came first to EHLS. I was trying to get to Foreign Service Institute before I came to EHLS, but I was never passing the interview stage. And EHLS actually helped me to go over that, interviews. We were going over interviews. They were telling me what I should improve on. And while I was in the program in the summer, I got into the interview into FSI, Foreign Service Institute, and I to the very prestigious, much better role that I was applying before. And I got accepted and I was really surprised. But I think EHLS paid off. You can see right away, basically. They snatched me right away. Foreign Service Institute snatched me right away before I even left the EHLS. So basically, EHLS, it's about, it's an experience, of course. It is like being trained for, if you are, let's say, if you have a comparison with tennis playing, let's say you are Serena Williams and you're trying hard to win a Wimbledon. So I would say this is going to be it. Yes, so that's going to be your experience. You will be trained in all the aspects. Sometimes it will be hard. Sometimes it is hard because you are receiving a feedback, and a feedback is here. It is sometimes not very positive. It's going to be probably they're going to tell you what is wrong with your speech or what is wrong with your presentation. And it is hard sometimes. So you have to take it like at the face value and keep on working on yourself. And it will, of course, you will see improvement. So it
Thank
just
you.
something.
Yeah, I think both what you're saying now and what you were saying about trying multiple times is that perspective of growth and how scholars just have to be very looking to grow, and that's kind of the attitude that will make a successful applicant and then a successful scholar as well. So what aspects of the EHLS program were the most helpful to you?
Definitely. So there were two aspects for me that were the most important. One was, of course, getting over my shyness, being able to publicly speaking, being able to pass that interviews free stage, that's everybody I think probably ever had. And the second thing was they actually teach you well, not only to write, because these days you can use, of course, ChatGPT and it will rewrite for you what you need to. But it taught me to think, to combine my thoughts, to organize my thoughts well, to read a lot materials, and to be able to pick what is important from the material. So it is not only helping in my work right now because I'm working as a foreign distance language mentor, but it also helping in like I'm writing right now articles, doing publications. I'm doing also workshops for my work and like some conferences attending, and I'm able to present myself in a much better way than I was before, because right now I'm able to speak to you guys and you can see probably that I'm not freezing, but it was much worse before. I wouldn't be able to speak right now here if I didn't go to the EHLS program.
Yeah, we often talk about a transformation, especially by the time we attend and see EHLS scholars at the OSAP presentation and how much they've transformed by the end of the program. I see a question in the chat about how you, I guess, overcame the application rejections.
It was hard. Okay, so let me tell you, because you're rejected and you feel like awful. That's normal. Yeah, that's something it is, yeah. But then like you will sulk about the months. And then you start thinking about how I can kind of improve myself in order to be noticed by because there is like a panel that is deciding on your fate, and how I can improve, like what can I do more. So when I was like in this like first stage rejection and second stage, like second time rejected and everything like that, I started looking around. I started taking a lot of initiatives in my beside my work. I started to volunteer. I went to the organizations that are in my field, but also beyond my field. So I was an instructor. So I started working also as an interpreter. I took courses in interpretation. I became like Bridging the Gap, for instance, was one of the interpretation course that I took. It's 40 hour like medical interpretation course. I took it. I also took a lot of courses in project management that not only helped to my candidacy to be seen by the panel, but also it helped me to organize my time much better. So it also helped me to grow, like I say. And I've been also starting volunteering in organizations such as CERT. This is a FEMA organization. Like this is actually a first responders who are volunteers. And so I just went to those courses and took them. And so basically, I think probably because I was multifaceted at the time when I came third time to apply for my application and to apply for EHLS, that's probably why when they noticed me. And one of the panelists actually was talking in EHLS and he talked to me on the Zoom and he said, like, I noticed your application when you were applying, and that's why I voted for you. Yeah, because you really had like a multifaceted. You had such a broad experience, but also like not so broad, you know. So because it was showing that you can work for the U.S. government in not only one capacity, like a language instructor, but probably you can also go and dive into interpretation or translation, or you can go to project management if you will be like able to and accept it. So I would say, like, think about how you can improve your application, what you can do now, you know, so in order to do that. And there are so many ways how you can improve your application these days, because there are so many courses for free that you can take online. There are so many organizations that you can become affiliated with and see how you can help and how you can not only like be a volunteer, but probably take initiative. I'm like a co-chair in one, I was a co-chair in one organization. Now I am a communication, basically specialist in another one organization. So just see, also don't go like my way is something that is working for me, but it doesn't mean that this is going to be your path or your way. Think what you feel that can shine in your background. Let's say if you are great in dancing, I don't know, maybe dancing is going to be a good thing, but maybe yoga instruction can be also a good thing. Not mention that anyway on your application, even that you are not thinking about becoming an instructor. But this is a good way how you can shine on and tell them like an application processes that you are able kind of to probably be an instructor in something else, not only in a yoga, but probably you can become an instructor in the way that you are doing right now. Maybe you are a biologist or you are a physicist and you will become you want to work for US government. So that way you can show that you are able to do this and that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different profiles, I think, among our scholars and our alumni. And that's kind of the beauty of the government as well, is that there's so many so many jobs and careers that people can do. Let's see, there's a question about the living stipend and how that worked for you, if that's
It worked well for me. I actually live nearby in DC. I live in Alexandria, Virginia. So and also helped me because I was completely virtual at the time because of the COVID. Of course, you don't have this privilege right now these days, or privilege. Some people didn't really like to be online and study virtually. Some people needed really to be in the classroom. For me, it worked out well. I really work well online, and that's why I guess I'm working right now very well as distance language mentor. So I'm all the time online. So the stipend was well enough for me. Even for the C, I would say it's still well like paid. Like it's I would say it is higher than you expect for like maybe like, I would say it's enough. It's not going to cover like the whole like family probably, you know. So your spouse or someone else will need to support also like contribute to the household, but otherwise it was well more than like I expected to receive as an instructor, as a language instructor.
Thank you for sharing that. Um, so what aspect was the most helpful to develop your professional English skills in the program?
So it was, we were, of course, there were a lot of classes, and you will see that when you will be accepted to the program. The most focus is, of course, on English, but I would say that also there is a career, very big chunk of it is also a career like I don't know, career development, let's call it that way. So where you are going to be presented with many opportunities, first of all, to explore what are your strengths and weaknesses and how to show your strengths to like during your application when you apply for a job, or when you apply I don't know, maybe for a university. Maybe you're thinking that you're going to take university degree, and so something also to help me when we had like uh, we could practice interview skills, for instance, for me was very helpful. And also when we had like a public speaking, when we had to present, we had like a very interesting research ideas that we had to present during our courses. We were working with scholars from US government, and we had to present each of the stages of our findings. And that helped me a lot because I was first very nervous. I couldn't talk too much. And then I was able kind of little by little, I was able to get over this nervous stage. And I started to be kind of basically a speaker, more or less.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful. We have a question in the chat, and I think it kind of speaks to what you were saying about a lot of our applicants are very multifaceted and they have a lot of strengths that they want to, a lot of experience that they want to show. But I guess it's not really easy maybe to kind of explain that maybe you have this as your current job, but you're on the side, you're volunteering here and yeah, so do you have any tips for a well-prepared resume? I guess I'll expand to maybe well-prepared, yeah, application. You know, should they shine their degree more, their experience?
So I would say this is going to be like really on personal level. So to explain you my situation, I have only a bachelor degree, so I don't have a master's degree. That's actually a minimum to get into the program, but it doesn't mean that you will get in, because if it's a very competitive like year, let's say, and you have so many applicants that are applying with your language skills, let's say like that, it might be you might not be so shine, like, like your application might be not so visible to the application pool, basically. And so I would say that the most important thing for me was to showcase my skills. Okay, so somebody might be able to showcase their diplomas, so I don't know if you have so multiple diplomas in your, like maybe in multiple subjects, even you can explain how you can do that for the US government, and you can explain how you can do that for the US government. And so that's I would say that is the most important, to find out it's the hardest, I would say. Also, that's how you can be visible by the panel that is going to choose you. So for me, I'm a multilingual, I'm a polyglot, I speak several languages. So that was basically on my portfolio the most visible, I would say. Also, I was active in other organizations. I have taken so many classes, so many courses by the time I came to the third time to the application. So it really helped. But I would say also don't underestimate yourself, because you might come to the first round and you might need to take English exams and you might not be ready for that. So I have to tell you, please prepare for the English exams, even though you are not trusting yourself and not believing that you're going to be accepted, So I would say that also was one part that I would say sometimes applicants might forget about, that also you are also tested here for languages that you are speaking. And especially, I would say for me, was English the hardest, because I didn't speak at the time well, and my writing is I don't know, sometimes it is good, sometimes it is not, but that was, I would say, probably you can take some English classes, I'm sure, like English composition or something, I would say. Or like, I have my gold list. I used to do every day. I used to create like 10 words I would write down on my gold list method. I advise it to my students, by the way, also these days when they study Russian or Czech or Slovak with me. You can type it in and you can find it on the YouTube, where there is like how to create like gold list and how to learn a very good words that you can use during your application, because those words are also important. Don't
Yeah,
forget about English. Yeah.
thank you for mentioning the testing process, because that's definitely something we want to get across to applicants, that's a very important stage. Both the oral proficiency interview in English, and then if you're provisionally selected, the rest of the skills testing and how to prepare for that. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. You kind of tips for preparing in English. Did you also prepare for your critical language OPI?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I already knew how to like because of my job, because of my application, I was a language instructor and I was preparing so many students of my own to pass those tests. So I already was prepared, like what to expect, let's say like that. Yeah. So my advice will be probably there are a lot of videos how to prepare for OPI exam. You can check it out online. There is one even from CIA, I believe, so you can check it out, see what they're expecting you. You can read something about that on ACTFul website and check it out what they expect, what level, each ILR level, what that means. And that way you can probably prepare even without being like a language instructor. Yeah, definitely it can help if you can talk, if you have like someone in your pool of on your networking, if you have someone that that prepares people for basically for those tests, it may be good to have like a small chat about that also, because sometimes you are a native speaker, you come to the test. I see it a lot in my experience. You come to the test, but you are not getting the level that you need to ILR, even if you are a native speaker, so it doesn't mean that you are not speaking well, but it just says that you're not thinking how you are presenting your language skills. Let's say instead of using difficult kind of structures in your sentences, you are not using hypothetical language, or you're not using which one is, or something like those. You are not using connectors correctly. Moreover, those kind of stuff. Yeah. And that's actually what is testers and raters are looking for in your language skills. So don't be surprised when you don't get to the level that you thought you are going to get. It is not about really being a native speaker. It's being able to show how you can present well in the language. Like you can do a lecture in the language, basically.
Yeah, it's really kind of having that professional mindset, even in your native language, and also kind of as a goal in the with the English. Any tips for the listening and the writing and the reading?
Definitely for reading and listening, I was doing a lot of NPR. I really like National Public Radio, and I really like how they have sometimes like listening and then they have reading, the transcript. So I used to go and I used to do that too. I also like a lot TED Talks. So TED Talks, they have similar experience, like when you go over the transcript and you're listening and again, like asking yourself, did I understood it correctly? I make list of words that I didn't understand well, so forth. Because for me, it's very important about the lists, making a list. I'm not very good with flashcards, too much time getting to the flashcards, but it's much nicer for me to do the gold list basically for each of those words and just practice those lists for me. So I would say yes. And also for speaking, like if you are trying to learn a new word to use it, you have to always, even like I would say, misuse it, So I used to drive all my like surroundings crazy, like especially my husband, because I would say everything is bounty. Yeah. And basically because I was trying 1 week, I was trying to learn that word, it didn't stick. Then I was trying to use idiomatic phrases and learn them. Like let's say it's ain't over until the fat lady sings, and it took me a very long time to remember that, but I was using it like basically the whole week, like all the time with everyone I took, like I came to the meetings and I came to this meeting and that meeting, and or piggybacking on your ideas or something like that.
Right.
So it really helped me because then I could use it during my OPI test, for instance. Some of the idioms, of course, you need to not use like during your writings. That's unfortunate probably, but then it is also like some others you can use during your OPI, and you think about that basically.
those are really great tips, I think, for language learning. I see another question about explaining a little bit about the OPI. So the OPI is a phone conversation that you have with a certified tester, and it's a conversation that will be more and more complicated to try and have you elicit more and more complex phrases. But yeah, I mean, we could clarify more about your question about the OPI if you want to type a second question in there, but that's sort of how that exam goes. But yeah, if you have any more question about that and how the testing goes, feel free to type it in. Um, and then we have a question. I don't know if you're able or comfortable to share about your current position and whether it has a security clearance or any of that process.
My current position doesn't have any security clearance, and actually, I didn't use that special schedule that you are receiving as a part of your EHLS program. I was able to get to this position that I have right now without it. But I have some of my colleagues, they got into some of the federal positions that they had to use schedule, and it helped them to get in basically into the door. But again, I have a bachelor degree, so you cannot kind of like basically look only at me because sometimes some occupations they need you to have already a master's degree or PhD, depending on the skills that you are looking for, or like I don't know, maybe you're a biologist, and they are looking for like at I don't know, CIA is looking for biologists, I don't know, and you are feeling comfortable working, of course, for CIA, because there are some positions that you might think that are comfortable for you. You also should think that if the position is not comfortable for you, you can probably try to apply just to see if you can get in, but probably, I don't know, maybe you will find a much better skills that like much better job that will work with your basically with your current position, because for instance when I was applying for some of those secret positions, you cannot have a double citizenship, by the way, so you have to think in advance, so you can still work for in some of the agencies. They allow you to work, and you can research that, and you can when I was writing my application to EHLS, I just wrote that I would like to kind of help national security in general. I didn't write like I want to work for CIA, and I didn't write I want to work for FBI, So just make sure that you can mention in your application that you want to work for national security, you really want to help US, like blah, 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 something. I don't know what is your language skills, but like if you are having Persian or Farsi, you can, of course, mention something like that. And I would say that's all depends. It's a very unique position. Everybody has unique position, and everybody can, I would say, help this economy and help this U.S. government to grow and to be better in this day and age.
Yeah, definitely many different ways to pursue a career after the EHLS program. And thanks for mentioning Schedule A. So there are hiring advantages for scholars after they graduate from the program. They have what is called Schedule A, and it's a hiring advantage. So basically, an agency knowing that you have that hiring advantage it's a very good incentive for people to hire you, because it will make the process faster. It will not make the security clearance process faster, but it'll make other aspects of the hiring process just in general easier and faster. So that's a very good things for like you mentioned, a lot of alumni, a lot of scholars have used it after they graduated.
And I think you could look it up, right? You could look up Schedule A and what it means. Excuse me for interrupting you, Matilda.
No, please.
And I wanted to mention one other thing. And thank you so much, Valentina. You make us so proud, and you gave such great tips. I did want to kind of follow up on, don't be nervous about, double citizenship and having to give your citizenship up. It's case by case, agency by agency. Sometimes I know for a fact that, depending on the job that you have, like for instance, I have a friend who went through the program. She is with FBI. She has multiple passports. They just hold on to her passports. And then when she wants to travel with one of them, she has to request the passport back. So don't think that you have to necessarily give up a citizenship. So fear
Yeah.
not, it's case by case, agency by agency, job by job. Don't let that stop you.
Yeah, I would say yes. Maria, you're right about that. I was myself reading some of the requirements for not FBI but another agency, and they said that basically in the time that I will be accepted for this position, they said that I won't be able to I will be okay to have my citizenship, but I cannot use it, which means I cannot vote in the elections. So that's basically, I would say that sometimes some agencies has this quote basically so I would say there are so many agencies and so many varieties of job that you can find yourself in without giving up something that you don't want to or don't feel comfortable giving up.
Yeah, so many opportunities for sure. And I think the program teaches you about them. I mean, it's really good to do some research before as you apply, to kind of give yourself an idea of what you would want to do, and showcase that in your essays. But I think a big strength of the program is learning about just so many more opportunities and maybe giving scholars that mindset of I can choose, I can actually make sure I actually want to do a certain job and apply. And you mentioned it might be good also to just apply for the practice of applying to some other agencies. We have a great question in the chat about the OSAP, so the Open Source Analysis Project, which is the capstone project of the EHLS program. So can you tell us about your experience with that, with your mentor, and how that went with preparing to present and to research?
Yes, so definitely I can tell you about that. That was actually the most I think I enjoyed the most because I like researching, and so my background I used to be a researcher in Czech Republic, and so I really enjoyed researching and my topic wasn't probably the most interesting for some scholars because I was working on extremists, violent extremists, and if you're looking at me, it doesn't seems like it's going to work out. But it was so interesting for me, so I started digging in and digging out, and I was able to find out a lot of very interesting information. It is published inside of the within the government, of course. It's not available outside of the government at the moment. But if you want to and you feel comfortable showing what you have created, you can try and go and publish it outside of the US government. So it's not like it is forbidden for you to apply your skills somewhere else. It just means that you will need to research some other ways how to basically publish your work. And I guess I was trying to publish it, but I was not so successful. But it doesn't mean that I might maybe in the future. I had other researchers talking to me about this, and we are probably will be using that in the future, but not at the moment because I'm still employed and have a lot of other tasks and upcoming conferences, and I am busy right now. So I'm not going to do that at the moment. But I would say yes. So just basically, research was great. Communication with my mentor was really wonderful. I had a researcher who was, of course, working for the U.S. government. It was I cannot mention that because it was, of course, closed environment. But she was really great. She was helpful. She was looking over my research. She was helping out with my writing. And also on the EHLS side, there are two scholars that are two mentors or like instructors that are helping you out as well with that. And besides that, you also have sometimes you're reading together. Sometimes you have you showcase your work sometimes to your group, as like a study group, we can say. Okay, and so in that study group, they will read your writing and they will advise you what kind of to improve on, so there are definitely a lot of work and a lot of thoughts, and as I said in the beginning, I really like how EHLS helped me not only to write something in English. It's important these days, but as I said, AI can write well these days, but it's more important, I would say, thinking critically and able to read a lot of materials, able to put them into the paper into the clear manner that people who are going to read your research findings will understand this. So I would say this was the most crucial things that I learned from writing and reading articles at EHLS and preparing for my OSAP project.
Amazing. We have a question more about going back to the application process. So like they say, it's probably a long time ago, but do you remember how that process was like for you? And how much time did you take to complete the essays? And if I'm understanding the question right, I think it's for the application essays.
Yes, so it was painful because I was rewriting it 3 times, my applications, because I was applying 3 times, and every time I was rewriting that, I was adding something new, of course. So I couldn't tell exactly how long did it take. It's not about how long does it take, but what you can put in, So I would say I don't know if you ever had like composition classes here in US. So it's usually good to put maybe outline on paper what you want to put on. Let's say I want to mention this, and that, and how I'm going to like have an introduction into that. Yeah, and the conclusion, how it's going to help US government. So I would say maybe advice to think about the structure, but of your writing of the essay, but also think about what information you are going to mention there. Yeah, so what information might be the best valued by the EHLS panel. Yeah, so I would say think about how many languages do you speak. Like for me, for instance, was how many languages do I speak? I have project management. I'm going to put it there. I am instructor. I've been helping a lot of students with basically diplomats, because I will be teaching them how not to make any faux pas during like official presentation. And thanks to that, they will be able to, let's say, to foster relationships between the US and other countries. So I would say this was important for me to mention in my application. Again, this is my application. Your application should be again going around to your case, because if you are medical, let's say if you're doing medicine, basically that may be helpful to you to mention your publications, or maybe how many lives you saved, or also in what was it like a difficult environment to work, I would say. Yeah, let's say I would say that's did you work in the environment that you had to show much more than you were able to showcase in normal kind of situations. For example, you were under the stress, but you were still able to compete well. You were still able to do well. You were doing 3 things at the same time. Like you were teaching, you were working, I don't know, you were taking care, I don't know, maybe taking care of your whole family. You were helping out your relatives to getting out from the Afghanistan, and it's still you were able to do everything else besides that. So I would say think about your life experience and how it will show how you can apply it in your studies in HLS, because you will have like pretty much sometimes you won't have time to eat well. Yeah. I don't want to scare you, but because there's so much work to do and so much improvement to do during the EHLS, like I find out on myself at least. I was trying, like, I'm like that driven, like, I want to achieve much better scores than I had before. And I had to basically push myself to the limits. And sometimes you push yourself to the limits, really. Yeah. So you have to showcase in your application that you had such experience, that you were able to push yourself to the limits, and you were able to overcome all the challenges, and you basically succeeded in what you set up as your goal.
Yeah, I think that's definitely kind of the angle of some of these essay questions, what they're trying to get to. And it's a good moment to mention too that on the EHLS website, we do have the selection criteria that the panel uses to rate your essays. So they're there in the open for you to consult and to make sure your essays match with that.
Yeah, and I would like to share just 2 additional tips for your essays that are, a little more sort of big picture, and they might seem simple, but I think it's a good tip. So first of all is to please read the questions carefully and make sure that you are responding to the question that is being asked. It never ceases to surprise me. Someone will read the question and then write about a different topic. So, as Matilda said, you can see what the application reviewers are looking for in those responses. And if you're not answering the question that's asked, that could potentially hurt you. So read them carefully. Sometimes they might be asking 2 or 3 things. So if they're asking multiple things, make sure you're addressing all of the prompts in the essay. And then secondly, I would strongly recommend that you write your essays in Microsoft Word or a similar word processing software, save it as you go along, come back to it, and then paste it into the application later. This is for 2 reasons, or maybe even 3. We're typically a little more comfortable working in that software. It does have spell check, which is great. But also the application system does time out after, I think, an hour if you're not going through and consistently saving and coming back. So you don't want to spend a bunch of time writing an essay in the application itself. It times out and you've lost it. So please do write your essays in Microsoft Word, save them, you can come back to them, and when you feel great about it, copy it and paste it into the application itself.
Thank you for those tips. I think Meredith, maybe you might be able to answer these questions about any required supplemental documents. And we have another question about some transcripts.
Yeah, so I see the question about required supplemental documents to prove professional experience, such as a letter of employment. No, that is not a requirement. You are asked to provide a resume, and there is an employment section of the application so you're going to provide a resume that can include absolutely everything, all of your employment experience as far back as you would like to go. And then there's going to be an employment history section where you can, I think, enter a limited number, I think maybe 4 or 5 past work experiences, and that you will give more detailed information there. For example, are we allowed to contact your supervisor? Yes or no? Provide some contact information for that supervisor, the dates, etc. So you can provide a complete history in the resume, and then you may want to focus in on the employment history section on things that you maybe want to highlight a little bit more, or maybe more recent work. But you're not going to be asked to provide any sort of particular proof of that employment. Although if you are employed currently by the federal government, that will need to be terminated before you begin your program at EHLS, and we can give you some paperwork to confirm that before the program starts. You don't have to have finished that work at the time of application. And then you said there was one about transcripts. Oh, in addition to official transcripts, I also have non-official transcripts from other institutions. Can I submit it? So you absolutely must provide a copy of your official transcripts from the highest level degree you have earned. So if you have a PhD program, master's program, whatever your highest level of education is, you have to provide a copy of the official transcripts or a scan of your official transcripts. If that degree was earned outside the United States, you must also provide an academic credential evaluation that shows the US equivalent of that degree. So that's also a requirement. If you want to submit supplemental transcripts from other degrees, that's fine. And if they're non-official, that's fine, right? If you're providing your master's degree official transcripts and that evaluation, and then you're also going online and printing out something from the registrar's office from your bachelor's, that's supplemental. That's not required, but you absolutely can submit that if you would like to.
Okay, I think we have time for maybe the last question that I'm seeing here for our alumni, and then I'll go to show a couple slides for to close us off. So Valentina, can you tell us a little bit about the Friday sessions, meeting with agency representatives?
Yes, I can. As much as I can tell you. It was with basically Friday meetings with, as you said, with federal agencies, different agencies, and also different, like, let's say, LIDAs and all those companies that you can also, by the way, be a contractor with, and also cover some of the portion, maybe a whole portion of the service requirement agreement. And they were coming to us, and they had like a lot of telling us how to apply, how to, basically they were giving us their emails, we could talk to them, and so on. So that was like something that some of us used this opportunity in order to get a job in the future. Yeah, so that's possibility, and those are major agencies and major diplomatic services included. And by the way, in mock diplomats, there are a lot of vacancies right now. So if you are thinking about applying, this is a great time for you to go to EHLS and apply. Then after that to diplomatic services, because if you're thinking about traveling, that can be something of the choice for you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
now, before, like I just, it came to my mind right now that there is one organization that if you would like to experience how OPI works, they are called National Language Service Corps. And if you will get through them, like basically you can apply for a membership, and you can get, there is a federalization process with them. If you apply for that, they will give you like a free access to OPI, I believe, like, so you can try, like, before you come, I don't know, to EHLS, you can try and see how well you go in that OPI process, and you see if, like, what to improve on this. Yeah, so basically, if you want to try OPI without going to EHLS before you apply to EHLS, that's probably one of the ways.
Yes, thanks so much for mentioning NLSC, National Language Service Corps, is a wonderful organization. A lot of members of that professional organization make very successful EHLS scholars, and they get to network with a lot of people as part of that organization. They get to go on missions where they can use their language skills. And they get to actually, yeah, you're right, to take OPIs and testing.
And even DLPT, I think it's possible to take if you want to try. But DLPT is not a part of EHLS, so.
But it's always good for your CV, I agree.
It's good for your CVs, and it might help you with some of the agencies. They will take it as the already completed, and you don't need to think about that when you are applying for a job or something. Another thing that I just remember is actually recommendation letters. I don't know if it's still the part of the EHLS application.
Yes.
I would say also think about how you can work on this, because I had actually 3 very strong recommendation letters. If I remember correctly, there were 3. So I reached out. One of them was basically from my student. One of my students wrote for me, very good, very well done. Basically, he even showed it to me. Then there was one of the academic, basically scholar that we had a research together. And another one was my supervisor. or even like you can go to the former supervisors, and if they really liked your job, how you did your work and everything else, they can like you can talk to them and see if they can write for you something excellent, like it should be showing how you're like coming and changing the world, yeah, more or less, how you will be improving the world if you will become an EHLS scholar.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's exactly what your recommendation should say. Yeah, those are great examples too of people who can fill out a recommendation. The requirement has changed, I think, since you last applied. So now we only require one application, but we recommend two.
Recommendations. Right, references.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I have these last few slides showing our social media. And if we didn't get to answer any questions, I know it's already past 3 and and some of us have to keep going with our days. But yeah, follow us on social media to see our next events. These are a few of our next virtual events. The highlighted in bold series of webinars, I think, cover everything about EHLS, general information, what to expect during and after EHLS, and applying to EHLS, really give you a full understanding of those. And we already have recordings for general information and applying to EHLS uploaded on the website. And more alumni will join us next week or next on the 28th and in further Q&As. And this is our contact information for any questions on the application system. You can contact Meredith. For any questions on the language testing, you can contact me, Matilda. And if you have any questions on the curriculum, schedule, and Georgetown facilities, you can contact Maria. And I think that's our final slide, and I'll just wrap it up because we are we're past time, and thank you so much for spending this this hour with us, Valentina, and giving us all your experience and expertise on being an EHLS scholar.
Fantastic job, Valentina. You make us proud.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.